Hello, I'm Richard Raffan. In an earlier video you might have seen me making this natural edged ash bowl. I kept the little foot on at the time, but now I think it'll look better if it comes off, and that's what I'm going to show you. And I'll show you one way of doing that, and then while I'm at it I'll take the foot off this bowl as well, and I'll show you another way of doing that without the tailstock. So the foot here is still quite large, it just looks a little bit kind of clunky, cumbersome to me anyway. So it's going to come off, and the easiest way to do it is essentially between centres. Now I could have a block of wood, a disc mounted on a screw chuck, but in this case I'm just going to use the Vic Mark step jaws and put some non-slip cloth over. Now bring the tailstock up. I don't really want to have a point in the middle there, and I might not get it right in the first place, so I've got a small bit of MDF with a very small hole in the middle, and that will go up to there. Now I need to adjust, just pull this in so it runs true. Just tighten that tail centre up a wee bit, and near enough is going to be good enough for this. You can fade the cut in one to the other. Right, just tighten that up a little bit. And I always do this kind of thing with initially with a 3/8 spindle gouge. I'm just going to use near the nose of the tool, running it around 1600 or so, I think. Let's have a look. Oh no, the below says 1420. So just little stroking cuts. Now once you've got this running like this, you can actually make it any shape you like. I'll try a little curve first. Now you can see in here that there's still a bit of a line all the way around. It's not going to be very even, so I can shear scrape that using the wing of the tool. It's going to be right up on its side, and really just stroking the tool back. Until that line goes, there's still a little bit left. Let's get rid of that there. Now in this situation, it'd be very easy to have a bad catch, because if this section of the wood here catches against the unsupported edge up there, the tool's going to want to carry back in that direction. So you've got to make sure that you just cut with the to the left of the nose of the tool. So there's a teeny little bit of dust just in there. So that's probably done that. Right, and I can smooth that up a bit more if I want, using the shear scraping tool. Now this is going to come right up on edge. Hand plant on the rest, and that's going to squeeze the tool around. It's a little bit tight in there, but in fact I've created another mark, so what I need is a rounder version of that. And try this one. Just propping my hand so you can see what's doing. I would normally have my hand over the top, and the dust is coming off around here. So that's done that. And it's a pretty clean cut, and you can see by the way it's the discoloration varies as you go around, so that shows the slight eccentricity. Now that will sand very easily. I'm going to use some start off with the 180 grit, the yellow. And turn on the dust for this. Blue, which is the 240. Wax on top of that, beeswax. I really want, with the natural edge here, I need to bundle the cloth up and then hold it with my fingers, so if it does grab, it'll just get snatched out of my fingers. Using the rest for support to help guide my hands. Right, so even with all the messing around, that probably didn't take more than a couple of minutes. So that's the one. And now we'll have a look at the other bowl. If you don't have an accurate tail center, then you need to make a jam chuck. So you can do that on the screw chuck. And I have a kind of double-sided one here. Already used that one for a bit. So that can go on there. I need to measure the diameter, so I can mark that on the face. So the grain's running this way. I always assume that these bowls are going to have moved a little bit, so I measure kind of across at a slight angle to the grain direction. This one does look as though it's moved a little bit. Just check it and see. $158.5 to unfortunately 161. Right. So this is going to have to be squozen into a recess. So I'll mark that first. So the mark I make with the left point needs to line up with the right. It's going to be somewhere around there. You get quite good at doing that for practice. And I need a square end scraper just to take that out. Now this is MDF, filthy stuff, so I'm going to have the dust going. So this is very slightly chamfered inwards. Just see how that goes. Ooh, yeah, a little way to go yet. Now I might be better off doing this one with a skew chisel. So let's get that. And the only skew chisel which comes to hand is the 1 inch. Now, the advantage of using a skew chisel here is that I can use the side of the bevel. Use that to there. So the idea is going to be to get it in, and then it'll make a little crunching sound as it gets tighter. Right, so that's in, and it's just a question of whacking it until it runs true. Need something slightly heavier, you've got this. This is rather like the other one. It's very slightly out of whack. Now, the exciting bit is here that the slightest catch or pressure this might fly out. Therefore, you've got to keep your hand over the top. I'm still going to use the 3/8 spindle gouge. So my thumb becomes a fulcrum. Little arcing cuts here. And if you're lucky, you'll see what happens if I go a little bit too hard and pull it out. So that's got the bulk off. Now I can either use the wing of the gouge there, but the angle's really not very comfortable. So I'm going to use the angled shear scraper, which has a rounded side so that I can slide it easily up and down the rest. And that doesn't want to take a shaving with minimal effort, so it gets honed. Very slightly, here it is, just off a little bit. Now I've got two options here. There's the hint of the line still. I could just stick a groove in there, and that would disguise the line and try to look decorative, but I think I'll stick with this and get rid of it altogether. So my hand's on the rest, and I'm just squeezing the tool back and forth. You don't want any pressure against the wood if you can avoid it. Just hold the edge in position so when the wood comes past it gets cut. I'm just looking for that, the residue of that corner to go. It's pretty well gone, and you can see how far out of whack it is there. So back to the 180 grits. Just a teeny, the hint of it being a bit of a lump, because I've reduced the diameter. That means the center has kind of risen in relation to the rim, so that's going to have to come off. It's also removed most of my signature. Just get all of that off. It needs to be put on again. went right up to the little beads. So that's the blue 240. And I'll put a bit of oil on this with it. Wax. Beeswax will just mix in with the oil. These bowls are meant to be functional, so the finish is not going to, the moment the bowl gets into use, imagine it will be washed up and it's used as a breakfast bowl for cereal, oatmeal or something. Curry, maybe not for breakfast, or in this part of the world anyway. Right, so the next excitement can be trying to get the thing out of the chuck, because you can't grip it easily. So you pick up a heavy and basically tap it. You need something a bit heavier. Right, failing that, you faceplate's coming as well. You can take it off the take the chuck off the face off the screw chuck, and then just hit that rim and out it comes. Looks a lot better for being simpler. Good, so that's the end of that little exercise.